How you doing? Old man here. Today I want to talk about what you really need to go bass fishing in your boat. No more of this, you need all these thousands of things, you need to spend thousands of dollars. I'm going to tell you like the bare essentials, what you actually need for your boat. The first thing we're going to talk about is rod and reels. I guess I should backtrack a little bit. I guess the first thing we're going to actually talk about is today I went to Bass Pro Shop. I went to the Bass Pro Shop here in St. Augustine, and I put together a list of what I would want or what I think someone needs, against my opinion, what I think somebody needs if you want to go bass fishing. You know, if you just got a boat, or if you're going on someone's boat, or you just want to start bass fishing a pond in your neighborhood. I don't care, right? If you're just starting into the sport, what would be like the bare essentials? What is it that I would recommend you have with you or you go out and buy, right? I mean, I'll show you. I've got so much stuff right now. Do I need all that stuff? No. Yes, I do actually. My wife asked, yes, I definitely need all this stuff. But what's like the bare essentials? What is it, you know? So I went to Bass Pro Shop. Shout out to Justin. He helped me. I just went up to the counter and I said, you know, listen, hey, I'm George. I have a channel, Old Man with the Boat. I want to put together a video today, basically of what it takes, you know, what would be like the minimum essentials needed to go bass fishing, to be successful, right? Just about anywhere here in Florida, or anywhere, period, right? And he's like, well, okay. You know, his name was Justin, great kid. And he's like, sure, I can help you. And I said, he goes, what's your limit? You know, what's your price? I go, that's the whole purpose of this. That's the whole purpose of this video, is to buy all this stuff and see what it would cost, to give you, the viewer, you know, an idea of how much it's going to cost if you were just to go and, you know, set up yourself, or, you know, your buddy's interested and he asks you, well, you know, what rod should I buy? What gear should I get? You can show him this video now and he'll be able to follow along. And I'll show you the prices and I'll tell you the grand total after it's all said and done, and why I chose something above something else. So again, we're going to start with rods and reels. So when I went in there and I said, I want to get one spinning rod and one bait caster rod and reel. And so I said, well, why a spinner and why a bait caster? Well, bait caster is going to be like your workhorse, right? That's going to be the rod and reel that you're going to use most of the time. Not all of the time, most of the time. You can put just about, well, I know you can put any lure on any rod and reel setup. You can do that. But when for myself, just to clarify and just to differentiate between the two, the bait caster is going to be the rod that I use as my workhorse. The spinning rod or the spinning reel setup is going to be more of my finesse baits. So, again, I have an assortment of bait casters and I have an assortment of spinning rods already on my boat, right? I could have just grabbed one of mine, but I wanted this to be more authentic, and I wanted you to see, hey, you know, this is what it actually costs. I'm not going to lie to you. So I went there, and the first thing I said is, listen, I'm looking at all these pre-built rod and reel combos that you have, right? They're less expensive than what I actually chose for myself. Keep in mind that, you know, again, I bought these things, but this gear I bought today is for me. It's adding to my gear, what I already have, right? So I didn't go top end, but I also didn't go the least expensive, right? I kind of went like a middle of the road. So again, when we talk about the prices that I spent today, keep in mind that that's a place that you could seriously cut some cash and save some money. So to start off with, when it came to the bait caster, I went with the SLX 150. It's good. I got the 7.2 to 1 ratio. It's just a good, sturdy. I like Shimano. Understand that I'm not sponsored by anybody. I have Shimano rods and reels now. I have Lose. I have Proficiency. I have a lot of different ones. Anyway, today I went with Shimano. It's a good bait caster reel. For my spinning, I also went with another Shimano, and this one is the Sedona C3000. It's kind of like your middle of the road. It's a nice spinner reel. If I can get it out of this box, show you. Very nice. I really liked it. Tried it out there. Really good. Had them put some line on for me already. Anyway, so I went with those two reels, both Shimano, both good. Now, as I said before, when it comes to rod and reels, the finesse rod is going to be my spinner. So when I put the wacky rigs, worms, something, drop shot, something that needs more of a finesse, a lighter, more playful kind of approach, that's the rod and reel I'm going to choose. When it's my workhorse, my crankbaits, my something to cover water, that's going to be my bait caster. And that's primarily what I use, right? I do finesse fishing only when it's required. It's not my go-to. It's not my first choice. So with that said, I've got two reels, so now I needed two rods. The rod that I chose for my my bait caster was just a Bass Pro Shop. It's called Carbon Light, Johnny Morris edition. It's a 7-foot medium heavy, really light, very light. That's that carbon fiber. This rod itself was $130. A little bit pricey, and a little bit more expensive, but I really like the feel. Anyway, it's Bass Pro Shop, so it's not like I went with some Shimano or Abu Garcia or some other Lose or something. No, I went with Bass Pro Shop because give it a shot, right? For my spinner, I went with a medium 7-foot, and they rate these by like poundage, right? But it's like 10 to 17 pound. Again, no, this one is actually Gold Cup Inshore. Okay, Gold Cup Inshore, and right here it says Offshore Angler. So we're already confused. Anyway, I went with this. Like it. It's got a lot of play. Again, I feel quite a bit. So anyway, that's what I put for my spinning reel. I don't remember what I paid for that, but I'm going to give you some prices right here. I got my receipt today, and for that rod, for my spinning rod, it was $59.99. For the SLX baitcaster reel, $99.99, and then for the Shimano Sedona was $79.99. So that's what I paid for those rods and reels. Anyway, so now I've got two reels, two rods. I'm ready to go. What line do I put on there? So keep in mind, when I say line, we typically talk about three. You're talking about mono, fluoro, or braid. Because I have all on my boat already, I wanted to think, okay, what would be the one line? If I had one line, what would I choose, right? Braid is on most of my line because most of my or excuse me, most of my rods and reels, because most of the fishing I do is in deep cover, and I'm like yanking stuff out of deep cover, so I want the braid. Finesse line, or excuse me, line that I want to have a little bit more finesse, a little elasticity to it, so I have mono on some of my other stuff. Again, mono's good, it floats on top of the water, you know. Anyway, so what do I want to put now that I'm just starting? I got 2 rods and reels. What would be the line choice? I chose fluoro. Fluoro, I've got, I think, 17-pound test on my spinning rod and 20-pound test on my braid, excuse me, on my bait caster. Fluoro is kind of like a good all-round line. It's like almost invisible in the water. It does sink. Anyway, if I had one line to choose, I would choose fluoro. So that's what I put on our setup for today. Now that we have 2 lines, or excuse me, 2 rods and 2 reels, what would be the baits? What baits do I need, right? So if I only had a handful of baits to choose from, what would they be? And I am going to take them out, and I'm going to show you what I selected. And I'm just, again, this is my opinion, but I think these baits would be all that you would need to fish anywhere for anything. Again, it's my opinion. By the way, the fluoro that I bought was Bass Pro Shop XPS. This shows you the 20-pound that I had on there, and the 17-pound that I put on my spinner. The fluoro price for the line was $15.98, and yeah, both of them were, so basically 16 bucks for, how much yardage is that? 175 yards a line for each one. Okay, so going back to my lures. The lures that I picked, so if I said 5 lures, what would I pick? First one, personally, is going to be a spinnerbait. I talked about my last video. I like the big Colorado blade single. I just bought this because I need them. I've got a lot of spinnerbaits. A spinnerbait, I don't care which one you get. You can get the willow, you can get that. These things are so good. I've probably caught more fish in the course of my lifetime on spinnerbaits than anything else, which is odd because most people catch them on plastics, but I'm not a big plastics guy, but I love the spinnerbait. So that's number one, is going to be the spinnerbait. I would throw that on the bait caster. You're going to cover a lot of water. You can cover a lot of water quickly with the spinnerbait. The next one is going to be, this isn't like a crankbait. This is a lipless, they call it a lipless crankbait, but it's actually, I call it a suspended crankbait. So it doesn't have a lip on it. So this guy will suspend. You can reel it in, it'll dive down and then suspend. This I could use, you could use my bait caster, but I'd probably throw this more on my spinning line. And then I got the rattles inside this as well. You can hear it. But this is a great bait to use, especially when the fish are suspended. If you want to just bring this across the top of grass or top of a structure to get them to come out, really good bait to have. So bait number 2 is my lipless crank. Bait number 3, yeah, I don't care who you are, a frog. Who doesn't love when they come out of top water and they explode on a frog? If you've never fished a frog and you've never had one explode on you or take it, my gosh, please give it a shot. You'll never forget it. It's awesome. Again, I went with the Bass Pro Shop one. I tried to keep it simple. Anyway, a frog would be number 3. Number 4 is a chatterbait. Here in Florida, I don't care where you are in Florida, somewhere on your boat, you better have a chatterbait tied on. This is kind of, spinner baits, this is kind of taking the same path as a spinner bait. It's kind of in Florida taking over for where spinner baits. More people have chatterbaits than spinner baits. It's probably 3 to 1. I can't disagree. I use them both. I like the spinner bait only because I like the different blades. This guy kind of through the water. I can drag it. I can fish it a bunch of different ways, and you can't really drag a spinner bait. So this is a swimming jig in short. But chatterbait, and of course, you need to get some trailers to put on that. So I put these claws on there. I like those. It matches really well with the colors, as you can see. So I just put the claw on there and throw that guy out there and hope for the best. So that would be my 4th lure. My 5th and final one is probably going to have everybody up in arms, but we're just going to go with straight up a wacky rig. You just put this guy, put this on the hook, right smack dab in the middle, and he just throw it and cover, throw it. Gee, dude, you cannot go wrong. When it's a slow day, when it's a bad day, when things aren't hitting, you're going to catch it on the wacky rig for sure. And then I think I should probably bring up this too. Like I chose Yum. It doesn't really matter, but the brand I chose, and I just got straight up green pumpkin. Actually, this is watermelon seed I got. When you're throwing like a Senko, when you're throwing a wacky rig, on here, on the bag, because they have different lengths, different sizes, it'll tell you which hook to use. Remember, we talked about this before, but you need to match the right hook to the right bait, right? So I got some 3/0. They're pretty small, but it's big enough that I can do that. Again, if I get too big, I find that it takes away some of that movement. So I try to go as small as I can when I can. So anyway, that's my 5th bait. So 2 reels, 2 rods, strings, those 5 baits, and one more thing that you definitely need to have with you, if not on your boat, with you on your person when you go out. And that is simply a pair of scissors and a decent pair of pliers, right? My last video I put out there, for example, I caught a mudfish, bowfin. He was 5.5 pounds. Without a pair of pliers, dude, there's absolutely no way I would have got that hook out of his mouth. The teeth on that thing is, you can't really see in the video, but oh my goodness. You're definitely not sticking your hand anywhere near them teeth. It's for real. I'll tell you a little story about my buddy Brian that you see on the boat. First time we caught a mudfish, it wasn't a very big one. He was probably, say, about 2 pounds, right around 2 pounds. And Brian said, "Hey, how do I hold it, you know?" And I'm like, I'm looking at it, you know, just lip it like you would a bass. I mean, no, don't lip it. Don't lip it. So Brian found out in like 0.2 seconds, you do not lip a mudfish. He sank his teeth into him. And so all I saw was the gum. And then once he put his finger in his mouth, the teeth come out like a shark, you know? And dude, it drew blood quickly. And it was painful. And poor Brian, you know, we got him all bandaged up and stuff, but yeah, definitely not messing around with those things. So you need a good pair of pliers. And then if you only have 2 rods and you have 5 lures, you're cutting and you're swapping lures in and out based on whatever it is you're doing. So you want to make sure that you have a good pair of scissors. Anyway, so the grand total today drum roll please, from Bass Pro Shop Outdoor World, St. Augustine, Florida. My good buddy Justin that helped me out today. If you happen to go by there, give a good shout out. He was a great guy and he helped me and he was, anyway, really good. But my grand total was $451.75. So, for everything you need to go fishing, to be a bass fisherman, to start up, to do it, $450 investment. That's basically what it would be. Again, you could go cheaper. That's an awful word to use. You could go less expensive. You could get these rod and reel combos that are much cheaper, I'll just say cheaper, damn it. Much cheaper. You can get those and there's absolutely nothing wrong. I digress. I'm going to tell you a little story about me. So I have, for example, two Shimano Corrado DCs. They're very nice reels, bait casters. At the time, they were about $300 a piece. I put them on, I think it's a Veritas rod. Say the whole combo at that time was close to $500, right? Very nice setup. I'm really pleased. I'm still pleased with the setup. $500, dude. That's for a single rod and reel. I could take that $500 and get 3 rods and reels of lesser quality today. Just what I bought today, right? So, or I guess today would have been 2 because I bought some other lures and stuff. But in theory, if you're starting out, right, you don't know. You don't have to buy all this top end high performance pro stuff. Save your money, get 3 or 4 of each, find out what it is you like, what you don't like, kind of, okay, yeah, I really like this brand. It feels comfortable in my hand. I like this, I like that. Because ultimately you get what you pay for. If you buy a $99 rod and reel get up and it breaks after 6 months, well, you spent $99, If you spend $500, it's not breaking after 6 months. I hope it's not breaking after 6 months. So I've went down both roads. I have a lot of rods and reels now because I wanted more quantity than quality. And I've kind of eased back into this kind of middle of the road, right? Where I'm a little bit more picky. I went with middle of the road today. These rods and reels that I purchased today are what I would consider middle of the road. They're not top end, but they're definitely not the low end. I enjoy it. I like it. That's what I did. Anyway, that's all I have for the day, but I just wanted to share with you what it would take to get your gear, be out there on the water, just about anywhere you want, catch some bass and have a good time. This is what it cost you. Again, more or less, depending on your taste, but give you an idea. Anyway, I'm Old Man. Appreciate you coming by. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Thanks.